before we started recording, we're talking about marital torts. And so when I say marital torts, can you explain a little bit about that for listeners that may not know what a marital tort is?
Oh, sure. So marital tort would be an injury that one spouse inflicts on the other spouse. So an easy example is in the unfortunate circumstance of domestic violence, for example. The injured spouse has the right in Colorado to bring a lawsuit against the spouse, we'll call it tortfeasor, the spouse who caused the injury, even if they're still married. The fact that they're married does not prevent the injured spouse from bringing a lawsuit. Just if, that injured spouse was walking down the street and somebody just came out of nowhere and caused injury to that person, struck them, cold cocked them. The injured spouse absolutely has a right under Colorado law to bring a suit against the tortfeasor spouse. And so the question that is unresolved is, in that example, if the injured spouse receives an award, either a settlement or award from the court or a jury for those injuries, and the parties are now getting divorced, how would the court allocate, first off, classify, and secondly, allocate those proceeds? So in Colorado, using the mechanistic approach, if the parties were still married, let's just use, one of the spouses commits domestic violence on the other spouse. That if that occurs during the marriage, the proceeds of the injured spouse's injury claim are 100% marital. But then again, we get back to the issue of the court potentially allocating those proceeds in an unequal manner. The common sense would probably say, in that circumstance, the judge very well may award the entire amount of those proceeds to the injured spouse. Colorado is not a 50-50 state. And to the extent the tortfeasor spouse has incurred a debt for this judgment, the court could award 100% of that debt to the tortfeasor spouse. So that's one way courts can deal with it. But as far as classification goes, in that example, that's a 100% marital asset, meaning that the funds that are owed from one spouse to the other.